Good morning, everyone. Please take a seat if you like. We are going to begin the ceremony for the John Hoffman Way Unveilings. Thank you so much to everyone who is joining us this morning. We're going to hear from a few officials in a minute, but also would like to recognize some officials who have joined. We have State Representative Dan Cahill, State Representative Sean Reed. We have Superintendent Dr. Yvonne Alvarez, former Superintendent Dr. Catherine Latham, Police Chief Chris Reddy, Fire Chief Dan Sullivan. Thank you all so much to all who have joined this morning for this exciting occasion. We are going to start with School Committee Member Lorraine Gately.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lorraine Gately. I'm the Vice Chair of the School Committee. And I am here to welcome you to the unveiling of the John Hoffman Way. A little background on how we got here today is that... Just get closer. Oh, there I am better. Thank you. A little background on how we got here today is I got a phone call from Al Melanson. And anyone that knows Al Melanson knows that when you get a phone call from Al Melanson, you pick it up. And he called me. He's a well-known hockey coach. And he called me requesting to do something for someone that has dedicated his life to Lynn sports. And that was John Hoffman. John has been known as the voice of Lynn, having broadcast in local networks covering classical English, Tech, St. Mary's, and KIPP, girls and boys soccer, hockey, baseball, and softball. He's also covered Little League and Babe Ruth, baseball and softball, and many championships through his years. Each year, John hosted the All-Star All-Sport Awards Banquet for Lynn Sports. So when I was approached to have something done for John Hoffman, I started to think. And anyone in this audience that knows me, you don't want Lorraine Gately thinking. It's a truth. So my first question to myself was, what can we do to celebrate John Hoffman for all he has contributed to our sports? We would put him in all the Hall of Fames throughout the city. Most of that is already done at this point. Then upon driving in Swampscott, I happened to drive by their new football field, and I saw Bondovich Way, and I said to myself, that's what we need to do for John Hoffman. We need to make the road that's going in front of Manning Field the John Hoffman Way, so everybody will remember John Hoffman. Several people helped me to accomplish this task, and I would like to thank Mayor Nicholson, Ward 5 City Councilor Diana Chikutis, Superintendent Dr. Alvarez, and the Stadium Commission for this dream being done. I'm not doing good, Paul, I know, with my speech. Okay, so Alman Lanson and his friends are having their dreams met. And now, the voice of Lynn Sports, John Hoffman, will be honored today, which he deserves. Congratulations, John. God bless.
Thank you, Member Gately. And now representing the Lynn City Council, Councilor at Large Brian LaPierre.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be here on a beautiful morning. I'm joined by my colleagues, Councilor at Large Brian Field, as well as Councilor for Ward 5, Diana Chikutis. We are here just in awe of a Lynn legend, John Hoffman. His name is synonymous with sports and character, athleticism, and academics, and scholar aptitude for decades in our beautiful city of Lynn. If you had your name called on John Hoffman during an athletic event here, you are considered special. This man cares about our city. He cares about our youth. Decades of contributions by the Hoffman family, surpassed even by Dad and generations before that. And this is such a great honor to be here on a beautiful Monday morning celebrating John and all he has done for us and our community. John, our sincerest thanks from the Lynn City Council for all you have done over the course of your public announcing career here in Lynn. Thank you.
On behalf of the City of Lynn, how excited we are for this moment and how grateful we are for John's contributions over the many years. Athletics is an important part of our educational offering here in the City of Lynn and the Lynn Public Schools, and it is so important because it's fun. You can hear students today having a wonderful time on a beautiful Monday, and also because of the importance of what they learn and gain from participation. And it's teamwork and discipline and success and failure. And it's also having those moments where people are paying attention to them, caring about what they care about, rooting for them. We love sports because sports has so many stories that draw us in. But to achieve that goal of knowing that the student athletes matter, that we care about what they care about and what they're doing and what they're achieving, somebody needs to tell those stories. Somebody needs to announce what's happening so we can hear the names loud and clear. We have been so fortunate in the City of Lynn to have John Hoffman playing that role for decades. And we have an opportunity this morning to thank him for making them feel seen, making them feel valued, letting them know that the city has their back, that we believe in them, that we care about them, that we're here because of them, because John Hoffman called their name and number, and it made their day. It meant something to them. Thank you to everyone who's here today who was part of that broader effort to create those moments and those life lessons for our young people, for recognizing the importance of celebrating a great man who's done wonderful work, and to see that sign whenever we drive into this facility and root for the next generation of student athletes, that we have John's example of commitment, dedication, and doing it all for the right reasons. Congratulations, John Hoffman. Now I'd like to introduce Senator Brendan Creighton.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to be here today on behalf of the state delegation. We have Rep. Dan Cahill and Rep. Sean Reed here, and also on behalf of Rep. Jenny Armini and Rep. Donald Wong. As I look out into the crowd, I see so many friends, teachers, coaches, members of the media, folks that we all grew up with here in Lynn and have had such a tremendous impact on all of us as students in the Lynn Public Schools. And just want to say thank you to all of you for what you did for me and also what you continue to do for this next generation and the impact that you've had. And as I look at John, you've certainly had an impact, John, and it's been 25 years roughly. I've had the pleasure of knowing you, and as it was said earlier, having you announce the name and number on a play didn't happen often to me, but when it did, you felt like gold, and it's a feeling that you've had, you've given to people throughout your career here. I was with Anthony Seaforth and members of our football team. We had a little reunion last year, and we played the highlight tape. Lynn Classical Rams, highest scoring team, and I know the score to the English game too, did 26-0. But anyways, we got together and we heard you announce the games again 25 years later, and it still had that same impact. Still feeling just that generous way you treated all of us. And you knew Lynn sports so well. You knew the numbers, you knew the figures. You have a memory like no one I've ever known. But it's also just how you treated people throughout your time here, and you got to know the players individually, and you got to know their families, and it's just been a lifelong friendship. So congratulations and thank you for all you've done for the City of Lynn.
Thank you, Senator. Next, I'd like to welcome St. Mary's Athletic Director Jeff Newhall.
Thank you, Mayor Nicholson. I was going to wait, Rich. Is there another delivery coming? They can put the car in reverse again while I speak. Just one? Okay. Thank you. Great turnout. Awesome to see some of the people that I personally haven't seen in years, whether they moved on to different districts or different jobs or retired. So thank you to all you people for being here today, I should say. For John, you know, you've received a number of different accolades, and I'm sure they all mean something to you, but you know, this one I think sticks because this street will be here forever. People will drive by the street forever, and they'll remember everything you did forever. And I think that's extremely important for someone who's basically given their life to the City of Lynn and to the kids in the City of Lynn. 42 years as an announcer. 70 years ago next year, you would have graduated from St. Mary's, right? There's two words that come to mind for me, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I'm basically speaking on behalf of the principals and athletic directors because somehow I've become the longest tenured one in the city. But Adolph Gratial from Lynn Tech, Dick Newton from Lynn English, and Josh Moore from Lynn Classical are all here. And John makes us better at our job because he drives us nuts pretty much on a daily basis looking for rosters. He wants the basketball schedule for next December. I don't know what I'm doing at noontime, but I'll get it to you at some point, as I always tell you. But I bring it to his house because I don't trust the mail, because then I'm sure he harasses the mailman as well. So I'm just trying to do everyone a service here. Quickly, there's two words that come to my mind when I think of John. It's service, which by definition is the action of helping or doing work for someone other than yourself, and dedication, willingness to give a lot of time and energy to something because it's important. And John found this to be important. He dedicated his life to it way before what we have today, YouTube, Twitter, Huddle. For the last 45 years, as Brendan just alluded to, you go back to the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and you got the old VCR clips and the DVDs. That's the only game you can find. And John's the only one announcing. Everybody in the city knows the face. If they don't know the face, they've heard the name on Channel 15. I think it was Channel 3 at one point. Other channels I'm not sure of. So we want to thank you on behalf of really the athletes in the city, on behalf of all the schools for everything that you've done. And I just want to say one thing personally and for the kids. I know we all talk about going to the games and announcing and knowing the kids. You know, the thing that's been most impressive to me is John's gone out of his way to meet the kids. He knows he knows the point guard at Lynn English last year, and he knows the point guard at Lynn English from 1987. And he would know them if they were here. And that's really something special to me, that he took the time to really meet each kid as what they were, not as an athlete, not as a basketball player or a hockey player, as what they were as a person. And I'll just leave you with how I know that. There hasn't been a Thanksgiving, Easter, or Christmas in which, whenever I wake up, that there isn't a call from John, right? And it's good times, bad times. If we win a big game, we lose a big game, something happens in your family, and this is what he does for all, probably most of the people here. It's more than just calling the game, the play-by-play. He's become part of the city, and he reaches out to people in times of need, and he knows all of us as more than just athletes or athletic directors or teachers or superintendents or principals. And I think that's something you should be very proud of, John, and I'm so glad that we get to see your name on this street sign forever. So congratulations, best wishes going forward, and Adolph will get your schedules first.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Next, I'd like to introduce Tony Seaforth of the Seaforth Movement, former terrific athlete.
So Brendan wanted me to let you know that he's still upset he didn't get to the Hoffman show. He had 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and he still didn't make it to the Hoffman show. So he wanted me to let you know that. When I was asked to speak, the first thing I thought about was sitting on my mom's floor watching Channel 15, watching athletes like Brian Vaughn, Chris Warren, Calvin Johnson, Anicio Echeverria, Marcos, Brian Smith, a lot of legendary players before me. And I remember just hearing you speak about them intimately, like the athleticism, like you knew them personally. And I couldn't wait for my opportunity to get up there and hopefully show that what I could do. And I remember my first high school touchdown was against Danvers High School, and you said Anthony Seaforth is a great. I've never played on TV ever. You said Anthony Seaforth is very athletic. Throw the ball up there and he's gonna get it. There's no one on this field who could compete with him when the ball's in the air. And I remember that because I'm like, one, this man doesn't know me. But two, it just gave me the motivation to want to be recognized every time I got on the field. And like they said, you are a voice of a generation. And to see what I'm doing now, I picked up a camera and I'm taking photos, obviously with Mukala. And I didn't realize how hard it is to go to every game. I remember you at the St. Mary's game when I wasn't playing. I remember you at the English game when I wasn't playing. And I'm thinking, what the heck did this man do to be able to go to every single game? If it was a big game, you weren't missing it. And I can't lie, I've missed several big games because I had to go on a trip or something. You found a way to be at every game. And I think people really need to understand. I think Coach Newhall said it best. The commitment you had to not only the city, but the athletes is just amazing. And I try to imitate that in what I do now that I've picked up a camera. I do other stuff, but I think you've led a generation of kids who want to document sports. And when we really trace back to it, you were one of the first, whether it's calling games or doing interviews after. I remember being in, I don't know if they have it, I don't know why they don't have it anymore, but I was in the Hoffman All-Star game, and there was just a lot of stuff that kids wanted to be on your show. We wanted to do something special on a Friday or a Tuesday to make it up to your show and sit down and have a conversation with you. So for me, you were this legendary figure that was on TV, and eventually I got on the show, and eventually we became friends. I see you walking the dog out back of English every day, and I see athletes running by you and not knowing they're running by a piece of history. That like literally you're out there and they have no idea who they're just passing by without saying hi. And that's important. I'm glad whoever put together not only this, getting him in the Hall of Fame and naming the drive after him. I think it's very important that we don't forget historical figures in Lynn like Mr. Hoffman. And I'm glad to say that I'm more than just an athlete. Now I'm a friend. We speak all the time when we see each other. You give me a hard time all the time. And I know it's from a loving place. And I remember my last photos were at St. Mary's when JJ scored 1,000. And I made it a point that he went and got a picture with Mr. Hoffman because that was important to me. Like the next generation needs to know who led a generation of athletes. So thank you for all you've done. Thank you for the impact you've had on not only the student athletes, the photographers, the videographers in the city, the people who are now calling games, making mixtapes. When you really trace it back, John Hoffman is the name that I think about. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you so much, Tony. Next, would like to call Coach Brian Vaughn, another former wonderful athlete and great coach.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you guys to celebrate Mr. Hoffman's great day. I'm going to be short and sweet, short like myself, but... Oh yeah, I'm sweet. But I'm going to talk a little bit about a young kid in Lynn myself who was inspired by this man. And I was inspired by him before I even knew him. And I was inspired by him before I even knew what he looked like. As a 7th grader over at Old Easton Junior High School. Wow, I didn't think I was going to get that. But as a 7th grader at Eastern Junior High School, I used to watch all my friends, older friends that I knew and played at Colley Park or Williams Ave, play basketball or football with, on TV. And I thought that was super special that I got to see my friends on TV. I was more excited to watch the games during the week that were played on Friday night than I was as a kid watching college football or NFL or professional basketball. And that inspired me to have my name called. I couldn't wait for my opportunity to get to high school because of this man. And when I got there, you know, I wanted him to call my name every night. And going from that kid that was inspired by someone he didn't know to getting to know him over the years is truly special. Mr. Hoffman was treating me great in high school with exposure and recognition. And not only that, he treated me great in high school as being a friend with advice. Over the years, we were neighbors. And over years, we became really good friends. And one of the most special moments that I had as being a head coach at Lynn Classical was every game, Mr. Hoffman would come down when he did our games, and we would talk for like 5-10 minutes before the games. We'd talk about our families, talk about things that were going on in our lives. And one of the special things that always happened in that talk that I always took special, and he probably doesn't know, is we always said we loved each other. And I always walked away feeling really great, because that man behind that TV screen that I didn't even know the face was, that turned from that into a great friendship to this day. And I'm super happy for you, John, what you did for all the young athletes like myself in the city. And enjoy your day, my friend, and I love you.
Next, I'd like to call up Al Melanson.
Thank you and good morning. Before Al would like to share a few words and a gift, we have a letter here that he has asked me to read from the Jacobs family and Bruins president Cam Neely. Dear John, on behalf of the Boston Bruins, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to you for your 40 years of service as the voice of Lynn sports. We are truly humbled to have such a selfless and devoted individual like you supporting our team and the dedicated athletes involved in sports around Lynn. Your service is a motivation to us all, as you have personified everything that we strive to work toward here at the Bruins organization. It is fans like you that make coming to work each day truly worthwhile. The love you have for your community is truly inspiring, and our organization cannot thank you enough for the contributions you have made to supporting young athletes. From all your friends here at the Boston Bruins, we sincerely thank you for your contributions to Lynn sports and congratulate you on the dedication of John Hoffman Way. It is truly a well-deserved honor. I hope that you continue to inspire your community with your effort and passion. Your dedication is humbling and something we will be forever grateful for. Sincerely, Bruins President Cam Neely.
Before I make a presentation, I'd like to thank Bart Conlon and Tommy Arabino behind the scenes working on this effort also. You guys are great. But well, with also Charlie Jacobs and Cam Neely, them expressing their congratulatory message. Bob Sweeney, who graduated from Acton Boxborough, played at BC, former Bruin player. He's the executive director of the Boston Bruins Foundation. He caught wind of this event that we're having today, and he wanted to try to do something special for John. So what he did was, again, John, this is an official Boston Bruins jersey, the number 40 for 40 years, and Hoffman on the back. John, there's no one more deserving for this street to be named after you. Congratulations and thank you for your service.
All right, we're going to unveil in just a minute, but first, Councilor Brian Field.
Thank you, Mayor. Just on a personal level, I know, like many of you, John's getting all the accolades today, and it's certainly well-deserved, but it doesn't come without a full support at home as well. John's wife, Jean, his late wife, Jean, was a great support to him over his 40-year career to the city. And earlier this year, she passed away. And during her funeral procession, the procession proceeded to come down John Hoffman Way. And I know how much it meant to John because of this respect and support that she has offered to him to do this every single day. I can't think of a game that he missed. And he's joined today with his daughters, Kathy and Christine, and their late son, Timothy, John, who I know Jean and Timothy are watching down with great pride today to also honor you. So on behalf of the City of Lynn, thank you for sharing your dad with us for so many years and making everybody's life.
We never called her name.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much for being here. And then please allow me to turn it over to the man himself, John Hoffman.
Thank you so much to the mayor and everybody, the committee, anybody that had anything to do with this. It's absolutely mind-boggling. You have my wife. She's stuck here with me for all these years. Way back when Warner Cable put an ad up on TV, if you'd like to do play-by-play, call this number. I come home and she said, they want you to do the Saugus Classical football game Friday night at 7 o'clock. I said, what, are you crazy? I went and did it. Ray McQuiggan was the announcer. I did the color. Dave McCarthy was the guy in charge. Dave McCarthy saw something during that game that he liked. They took the ad down, and I became almost a regular doing color. I wound up, Ray McQuiggan got minor surgery. He couldn't do a game, so I got stuck with it. I was a nervous wreck doing the play-by-play. It was an English classical game. Jimmy Smith kicked a field goal with no time left to win the game for English. And I looked and I said, this is pretty good. I think I can do this. Ray McQuiggan didn't come back. That left me, and he's been stuck with me ever since. It's been an unbelievable ride. Dave McCarthy at Warner Cable. I moved over, Warner Cable left, Verizon and Comcast came in. They moved the studio. Thank God they moved it to classical. They could have gone to either of the three schools. Phil Terenzoni was in charge of classical. And with Phil Terenzoni in charge, he was the second coming of Dave McCarthy. And we worked decades together. He just retired. Him and his family are great friends of the Hoffman families. And we moved on. And then coming up to help Phil Terenzoni were former teachers, Mike Quinn, Paul Safford, Ed Flynn, who worked behind the scenes in the studio, became very good friends. We worked well together. And I was leery going over to classical because Dave McCarthy was so good and so particular. And I said, I don't know what's going to happen now. The teacher may not want to do what Dave McCarthy did. He may not do it as well. I may be in trouble. Phil Terenzoni was outstanding. I was leery again because I said, Dave McCarthy was perfect with the camera. We're going to have young kids, the oldest being a senior, the youngest being a freshman. And how are they going to, some of them, all of them have never filmed an athletic event. Most of them, if not all of them, never saw a hockey game. And I said, this is going to be tough, and we're going to change every year for graduation. They turned out to be outstanding young men and women. They become sort of part of my family. They are the true stars of LETV. You see me, you hear me, but without them, there is no LETV. You know, my job has been absolutely phenomenal. I get to watch, talk about, and make friends with the outstanding young men and women who represent themselves, their schools, their cities, their families, and they do it outstandingly. I got to meet their families and friends, their relatives, their parents, their grandparents, and I watched all those young kids and the young Cameron people grow from Little League to Pop Warner to Babe Ruth to high school to college. I watched them come back and make great contributions to this great city in the way of police, fire, EMTs, coaches, teachers, principals, superintendents, mayors, serving on the city council, serving on the school committee. I watched the two gentlemen now who are state rep and state representatives doing an outstanding job. They are great friends. I did their games when they played. And it's just been an absolute unbelievable run. I had a great gentleman the other day stop me and congratulate me and say, what a great job you do with the kids in the city. I didn't say it to him because I didn't want him to think I was being negative, but after he left, I said, it's not a job. I had a job. I worked at the Boston Herald. Driving to the Boston Herald every day was nothing. I anticipated, I knew what was going to happen every day. Like most of you, the jobs, it's the same every day. So you know what's going to be there. It's not that way on this great trip. I get ready to go to Manning Field, Manning Bowl, the gyms, the Connery Rink, all the venues. And I try to think of, what am I going to have today? What's going to happen? What's my life going to be? And I can't even guess. You get these places, and you say, is somebody going to get a base hit in the last inning? Is somebody going to make a great defensive play to win the game, save the game? Is somebody going to make a big three-point shot at the buzzer or block a big shot to save a game? Is somebody going to score a late goal with time running out? Is the goalie going to make a great save with the game running out? Is somebody going to return a kickoff or a punt for a touchdown or score a late pass for a touchdown? Is somebody going to kick a field goal with no time left to win the game? All this has happened, and it's happened more than once. And it's been just an absolute treat. It's been, and the best thing about going to all these venues are all the great people I've met. Families, parents, grandparents, the players, the DPW guys, the janitors, the umpires, the referees, the fans that come that don't have kids playing but they like the sport. That's been the payment for me over all these years, all these great friends. And, it's been an absolute unbelievable run. And I have been blessed to be a Lynnite for my entire life. And you couldn't become a better person than a Lynnite. I've watched everybody grow. I've grown myself. I honor my great family, my two daughters, my wife, my two granddaughters. They gave me the time, the space, the energy, the support. They helped me and they kept me going. And it's just been an unbelievable run. And all the great people that I've met have made it just an unbelievable ride. I was blessed today to remind me how old I am. Bart Conlon, former principal at Lynn Tech, reminded me that 70 years ago, I was a coach on his Little League team. And Mr. Bogart reminded me that 1974, I coached him in North Shore basketball. So if I forgot about how old I was, they reminded me very quickly. But the beauty of this is all of you and all the friends that I've made. It's been an absolute treat. So many great people have treated me so well. The kindness and the kind words and treating me with such respect has made it an unbelievable ride. I love you all. God bless you all. God bless the City of Lynn. And God bless my family. And again, thank you for making an old man happy.